Hi everyone. Today I want to talk to you about effective meetings. Meetings with meat. Meetings that really work. I have to say I used to work with a company that was the exemplification of death by meeting. They used to have the same meeting over and over between Monday and Wednesday with a few different players being changed out each time and repeating the same information over and over. And because different players were involved in each set, they weren't actually getting to any decisions. Crazy, ineffective use of time. And let's face it, expensive. Who's paying for those people to sit in all those meetings where they're not accomplishing anything? Now, I'm not saying every meeting needs to have very particular outcomes. Maybe meetings are just about brainstorming. Depends on what you're looking for. Here's a few tips that I'd like to suggest. Before you have your meeting, all of the players involved need to have a say in the agenda. Within reason, of course, the chairperson of the meeting, whoever that is, needs to have the final say. But everyone needs to say what they want in the meeting and have that sent to the chairperson well in advance, usually 48 hours, so that the chairperson can then send back the final agenda within 24 hours of the meeting. Every person attending that meeting is prepared and knows what to bring, what information to be prepared for, and what exactly is going to be covered. The second thing is use a timer. Do not be afraid to be so bold as to use an iPhone or a BlackBerry or a heinous alarm on an egg timer or something in that agenda. If you do not stay on time, people lose trust and they don't feel respected in their time. You say you've given someone 5 minutes to present facts on a particular issue or research project, they have 5 minutes. Not 6, not 7, 5. And the alarm needs to be loud and well known. When the alarm goes off, stop talking. The third thing that you need to do is be very clear at the end of your meeting that there is someone recorded by when. Really great meetings happen a lot. Unfortunately, they miss this step and everyone leaves, and actually the action that was declared at the end of each meeting to move forward, no one is followed up on and no one is accountable for. You must have accountability. So someone at each meeting needs to be writing down who is committing to what and by when, so at your next meeting, they may not be complete on that action, but they could at least give you an update on how that is going. You also need to be very clear about what support that person needs. Often people will commit to something at the end of a meeting without realizing the support that they need in that, and then they come back and the action isn't complete because they didn't ask for it. So anyone committing to action needs to be clear about what support they need, perhaps from one other person, from another department, or maybe it's external to that. Maybe they're hiring an external party for support. The other thing, so this is the fifth thing. The fifth thing is when you start your meeting, you actually can't just rush into the meeting and slam people with the agenda and ready to go. It sounds like it makes sense because we're all about being on time. It actually doesn't work. Psychologically, it's called a soft startup. Dr. John Gottman is the father of sort of this research that in any meeting, we need to have a soft startup or just a check-in. Say, hey, how you doing? How was your weekend? If you know how someone was doing, how did that project at your home reno go? Or, hey, I heard you were doing this trip this past weekend. How did that go? It's a very basic, and it does also need to be timed, no more than 10 minutes, depending on the number of people in the group. You need to have a soft startup. The reason is it actually psychologically helps people park what's in their brain and become present to what's going to go on in the meeting and in the room. It also builds relationship. Without relationship, meetings are pretty nasty. I want to put an asterisk note at the bottom of this. If your agenda is filled with data, regurgitation of data, people are going to fall asleep. So you need to find ways to get people up and moving. Is there a way to present your data over 2 or 3 meetings so that you actually get it across to people and they don't glaze over and their eyes roll back in their head? Make sure your meeting is engaging and you have interaction. There are times when you do just need to regurgitate information, specifically financial goals, at AGMs, etc. You've got to find a way to mix that in between some other kind of interactive material so that everyone at your meeting is present and actually gets everything they need to get out of it. I hope that helps you. Follow those 5 steps and your meetings will have a lot more meat behind them, and you're going to get a lot more of what you need.